We're live. So I'm going to demonstrate how I just had a concept. And with that idea, I have now turned it into a a regular practice. Okay? So I'm just putting this meal together, right? And I don't really think microwaving food is the best option, but I do it because I'm trying to keep simplicity, So I just like to knock it out, and from there I go. So this way, it's kind of like when you do things quickly, almost like take takeout, but minus the like junk food part of it, because obviously this is not like takeout food that I'm creating here. It's actually quite healthy. So food wise, it's very healthy, but convenience wise, it's like I'm opting to save time, and you know it's a mixed bag when it comes to microwaving food, because they say, you know there's harm, and it's extreme type of cooking. It might be better to use like what are those called, those toaster type of new wave ways of cooking. you know there are other ways, but for me, a microwave is pretty efficient as far as saving time. So that's why I opt to use a microwave. So I'm just putting these things together as quickly as I can, so I can get to the routine. Perhaps I should have done this ahead of time, but I thought to myself, why not hold myself accountable and just do this publicly, and demonstrate how you can literally, when you're doing something as simple as making some food for yourself, the time it takes to make the food, you can actually create habits that turn into like routines that are like religiously done, you know? So that's what I'm demonstrating today on this like impromptu, unconventional live stream. And as a result, I'm going to show how a little goes a long way, as far as when you consistently keep doing the same thing over and over again. So a little at a time, over and over, it amounts to a lot being accomplished in due time, you know? So that's the whole point of today's live stream. And I'm almost done here, so I'll show you. I'll use some spinach. This is organic baby spinach. This is organic baby arugula. Boom. Okay. So is there anything else I need? Put everything there. Oh, we'll use some, I have some green peas here, green pigeon peas. They're, I just kind of wash them because they're from a can. They're not like raw and they haven't been soaked or like, pre-soaked and left overnight. So just wash because these aren't the low sodium ones. And you know what? Just reminded myself, speaking of, because I'm trying to like get my sodium levels to like a really nice point, I'm going to actually, I could have a way better option. A way better option would be like actually beet, um, Swiss chard greens. Those are the highest form. They contain the highest amount of potassium, and I really like Swiss chard greens because like most people think potassium from bananas, but then you have like bananas have one of the most highest amounts of sugar content, right? We're talking about almost 30 grams per banana, right? So that's like your daily intake. But if you have Swiss chard greens and they have double the amount of potassium, no. Yeah, they have double the amount of potassium than a banana has with like almost like no sugar. You can't go wrong, you know? But I don't have the Swiss chard greens right now, so I'm gonna have a banana. I know, with all that I just said. So then what was the point of me saying it, right? But yeah, the point is I don't have the Swiss chard right now, so I'm gonna have to have a banana. Let me see. Yeah, these aren't really ripe, so. And the reason why I'm having bananas to begin with is because potassium flushes out excess sodium. So when you have a whole bunch of sodium you want to flush out, you basically like you use potassium to do so. So that's why I'm doing it. So I'm going to put a little bit more water in this plate and then I'll begin. Okay? Now, surprisingly, avocados, like a whole avocado, will give you more potassium, or at least around as much potassium as a banana. But the problem with avocados is that the fat content is extremely high, So that's why I say Swiss chard greens. That's like your best bet. If you're trying to like avoid too much fat and too much sugar, then your best bet for potassium is going to be from Swiss chard greens. Okay, so yeah, let's do this. Okay, I'm gonna use the microwave here. All right, we're gonna do this in, watch this. We're gonna do this in 15 minutes. No, yeah, less than 15 minutes. Okay, we're gonna do this 5 minutes at a time. Okay, watch this. So now we are going to so look, I'm in slippers right now, right? I'm just gonna take some dusty old Lacoste sneakers, put them on, no socks, right? And I'm gonna demonstrate, right, what you can do in 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm just gonna, let's see. I'm just gonna use one dumbbell. Technically, I can actually do this without weight. So, take this off. That's a crazy thing to think about, Mr. Johnson. All right. One, two, while I wait, 3, for the microwave, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, some front squats, right? And again, I didn't have to do this with weight. I don't have to use a dumbbell. I could do this just free weight, right? Like free. All right, here we go. Okay. So we're gonna go side lunges. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Stretch the 4 inner thigh. 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just 8, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. Now we're gonna do forward folds. I'm just showing you what I do in between microwave sets, so to say. 1, 2, 3. They're kind of like stiff legs. 4, stiff leg deadlifts. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Can't forget some push-ups, right? So we did front squats, we did side lunges, we did forward folds. We're gonna do some push-ups. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the microwave. 7, 8. That was 5 minutes. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 25, right? I want to do one more exercise before I get to the microwave, okay? You know what? I'm going to switch the view. So that I get my last movement in, and then this is just going to be an 8 count. blood flow in the opposite direction of gravity, what gravity normally does. And then we just get some in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's one set. Yeah, it took a little over 5 minutes, but remember, I'm waiting for my food. So this is what I do in between time while I get my food right. And this is the whole point. Like, this was an idea where it's like, you know what? If you're gonna make food anyways, right? And you're gonna spend, okay, 5 minutes. I'm gonna do another 5 minutes, and then I'm gonna do another 3 minutes. So basically 3 times I go to the microwave, right? So in between waiting, instead of just waiting, why not make it productive? I'll tell you another example, right? So when I make my shakes, I'll blend the shake 3 times, right? So in between each time that I'm waiting for my shake to blend, I'll get on the steps and I'll do calf raises. It's really that simple. And here's the reason why. When I go to the gym, because I'm doing stuff like this all the time, and I literally do it in minutes, but I do it every single day, when I go to the gym, I have to do, I could do the least amount in the gym as long as I'm eating right, hydrating properly, and getting enough sleep, and I get crazy results, and I'm almost 50. I'll be right back. I'm gonna set it for 5 minutes. Okay, second set. And this is gonna be the last set, right? I don't even have to do a third set because my numbers were up. Here we go, front squats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All I need is 50. Right back to side lunges, okay? Deep. 1, just 8s. 2, 3, 4, 5. Stretch the inner thigh. 6, 7, 8. Switch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right to forward folds. 12 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's it. Now, 2 more exercises, and we're done. Right to push-ups. Second set. Another 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Last move. And this is what I do. Okay? The microwave's about to go off for those 5 minutes. And I'm being productive. Okay? Last move. This way I don't have to go crazy in the gym when I get to the gym. Because I'm staying active daily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Done. That's it. I already did my calf raises. So I just want to demonstrate how you can literally, in between making food, be productive and understand how you turn an idea into a religious routine, just like that. And like I said, a little goes a long way. You do this every single day because you're gonna eat every day anyways, right? So you might as well, the microwave's gonna go off. Look at that. And my psychic, and I'm gonna put it back for another 3 minutes, and I finish before the last one. Just like that. You know what's crazy? So this is totally, and I get to eat the food after a workout. So it's almost like post-workout, as opposed to, I'm just eating. No, I'm feeding the muscles. But, you know what's crazy? So I was watching, this was a few days ago, it was on the news, right? Michael Jordan, this is totally off topic, right? Michael Jordan is suing NASCAR right now. I don't know if you heard, right? So my thoughts are random. And when he went to testify against NASCAR, right? Because he's basically suing for NASCAR being like, they're running a monopoly, and because they have a monopoly for race car driving, it's like he's suing to bring, I guess, some sort of fair payment for the drivers that are risking their lives racing, because he's basically arguing that they're not getting paid enough, right? And everyone has to follow what this entity is dictating because they're running a monopoly, right? So here's my point. There weren't cameras in there, but they were saying when he was there and he was testifying against NASCAR, the attorney for NASCAR, and I get it, right? This is Superman. We know who Michael Jordan is, right? But the attorney for NASCAR was literally starstruck and thanking MJ. Can you believe that? Like, you are the person who is backing up, as the attorney, as one of the attorneys, I'm assuming, the opposite team. And you're starstruck over this man who's suing your client. That is nuts. Talk about privilege in this country, But it is what it is, right? Yeah, I guess you have fame and you accomplish certain things in life. It's like, and what we can take away from this is like, when people get to certain levels, status-wise, it's like they can get away with so much in life, you know? Let me set this for another 3 minutes. Be right back. And done. Yeah, so 20 something minutes. Bronx side, what's up, user? Appreciate that. Yeah, we here. CLD, what's up? How you doing? Uh, yeah, that's really what it comes down to. Like I'm doing my best to bring positive energy as often as possible. So hopefully it appreciates. That's cool. Hopefully, people get something out of it. So if that was what you needed at that time, hey, that's what it's about. That's exactly what it's for. And right here, maybe someone could come back to this live stream at some point later on where they see how I had an idea in my head where it's like, okay, I'm making food anyways. So I put it in for 5 minutes in the microwave. Boom. Now I'm waiting for 5 minutes, right? Instead of waiting, why not do a workout, right? That way, like, I'm knocking out so much. I'm being productive instead of just waiting. And I then did that over and over, and now I've turned it into like a religious routine. I do it religiously. I turned it into a routine practice. And now I get to use the food as an actual post-workout as opposed to just eating it. So hopefully this also motivates someone who comes back and watches this. That would be cool. And then maybe they do what you did and they come join us in a future live stream and they're like, I saw your live stream on the idea that turned into a religious routine, and I really needed that because I needed to just get up and get motivated and who knows. But that's really why I do it because you can literally, like, you shouldn't ever think you don't have enough time to get things knocked out. Look, I could have been just waiting here for the food to, to finish up. No, but I stayed productive and I wanted to actually do this. I know this is unconventional, right? This is like a weird live stream, but at the same time, it's like, there really is no excuse. Like, you can get it done. And I just demonstrated that. I finished early, did it in like what, 10, 15 minutes. And I don't even have to go to the gym. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do arms next, but triceps and biceps. But when I do this every day, I'm burning calories, I'm shaping my body, and I'm preparing myself for the gym. Malecon, yeah. I mean, I don't blame you, right? I actually just got off of being totally whole plant based for a year and a half. You know, I just started having, well, I started with fish and then I slowly incorporated eggs, right? After being whole plant based for a year and a half. So I felt good too. But I kind of, because like when you understand nutrition, you understand how it's a little tricky to get the aminos. You could still do it live. What's going on? You can still get the aminos from plants, but it's a little tricky, especially like me. I tend to go a little nutty in the gym with resistance. So I just kind of wanted a little bit more. That's why I reintroduced salmon, wild caught salmon, pink, sometimes red, um, mackerel, sardines, sometimes cod. And then I was thinking about the nutrients and the micronutrients. So I reintroduced eggs, the omega 3s, the biotin, the folate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you could say I'm a pesca, avo vegetarian, right? And that's not to say I won't have chicken. I probably will, but I really don't have poultry, whether it's turkey or but I kind of don't have red meat, you know? I just feel heavy and sluggish when I have red meat. So it's not because I'm like trying to save the planet or I don't believe in something religious wise or anything like that. No, it's just, it's how I'm going off how I feel, you know? And I feel light and in shape and like my body processes it faster and I feel active. I feel like vibrant and full of energy. My skin is clear. Like the way my brain functions is like on point, you know. So that's why I do it. Hey, listen, we're human, right? So if something was a distraction and you really wanted it, and you, I might just go to Malecon right now, right after this. Now you got me thinking about Malecon, you know, but no, I mean, that's why I'm eating right now. So let me get that, by the way. Okay, so this is hot, 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 hot. Okay, be right back. Okay, so I'm not being enumerated by this. Wild caught sardines. These are really, not everyone is a fish eater, but it's really power packed and nutrient dense. Good fats, half an avo. Like I said, the potassium is high on this, and I'm trying to reduce my sodium intake. So, like when you're trying to get a good pump, me personally, I don't believe, because when you're trying to get vasodilation, dilation, meaning your arteries, like you dilate them, you get more blood flow. You do it by um, you reduce your sodium intake. So I like if you're trying to get a good pump from your workouts, whether it's calisthenics or resistance, you want to get your sodium intake down because excess sodium actually constricts your 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 vessels, right? So if you want to get a good pump naturally, just lower your sodium intake and you'll have that happen. And if you have more potassium, because most people are going to think good fats with avo, right? But like I said, the potassium in an avocado is on par with bananas, if not better. There's so and like yeah, okay, it's high in fat, but at least it doesn't have the sugar, right? And sugar is problematic too. But if you want a good pump naturally, get your sodium down and keep your potassium levels kind of where it should be. You got like 18 chickens in the window. I could imagine. You got me over here thinking like I need some chicken in my life right now, you know? Okay, so I'm gonna let me just let me just wash my hands quickly because I have my hands on the floor. We're gonna get this knocked out. So, I'm having fun with you all, you know, having cool conversation, you know, we're providing motivational energy, you know, and at the same time, we're having good conversation on whatever we feel like talking about, right? That's awesome. You know, I always have fun having these weird live streams that I do because I wind up doing anything. And, my whole purpose, I say this a lot, but I say it because if we can have fun just kicking it here, doing a live stream, then this is totally carefree and like raw, like they say live, but it is live, right? But it's natural. It's like organic. right? Like the food I'm eating. These are actually organic avocados. Now, when you don't have something riding over your head, like, and I say this a lot because I want to use this as an example. Like if I was here charging you stuff and no disrespect and no shade to anyone charging anyone for anything, but if I was charging you for stuff, like, okay, check out my merch, check out my Discord, check out my Patreon, here's a membership, and I have a discounted price for the month. And if you come in, you have first dibs on whatever, right? Then it's like, now I pulled you into a service and you're kind of like holding me accountable in a different type of way. So we're not just flowing the way we are right now. Now, because I don't charge anything and I won't ever charge anything, and like I won't ever take a YouTube check, then my beard is like, I can't help it. This doesn't grow long, so it doesn't do what it does here, you know? So fix your teeth or whatever's up with you. Anyways, so because I don't ever have to worry about that, you know, you charge for whatever comes with the sub. So most people, if you join their sub and they have a big following, not saying that I have a big following, but if you have, I thank you for the compliment. Usually what happens is they're going to monetize their channel. They're going to verify their channel. They're going to monetize their channel. And then they're going to add like merchandise. They're going to add like little services and they're going to charge for all of that. So it's not necessarily the live itself, but the whole picture. But if you don't ever charge, then we can always flow like this, where I don't feel like I have to do something, otherwise my views are gonna go down, or like I'm constantly checking the analytics to make sure everything stays up because I need to get that money. No, like I don't have to worry about that because we're just kicking it, you know? Let me just get something else. Let me wash my hands again. So that's why I say, like, I know it comes off like saying the same thing over and over like a broken record, but that's why I say, like, genuinely, I have fun doing these, you know? And it doesn't matter. Like, you want me to, when someone comes in and trolls me on being obsessed with me, this doesn't grow long. So it's always going to be unruly. Oh, are you seriously going back to the whole no one charges for a live? I literally just broke that whole thing down, you know? It's not the live that they charge for, it's the Discord, it's the Patreon, it's the services that they charge for, it's the merch that they charge for, it's the YouTube check that they grab from YouTube. That's what I was saying. Did you really just ask me for my body count? That is interesting. I don't know what to make of that, you know? I mean, I appreciate the line of questioning, you know, but quite honestly, like I just said, we're all just kind of getting to know one another, you know, and those those are some questions right there. Those are definitely some questions. You know what someone said to me the other day in a live? They literally asked me, they prefaced by saying, I'm not trying to be weird, right? So then chances are it's probably going to be weird, right? But they asked me if they could have, like, if I can send them my fluids, like my bodily fluids. Like, what? like I was like I was kind of dumbfounded. I was like what does that even mean? Like what do you mean? Like what kind of bodily fluids? So I don't know. It's kind of strange. I I I genuinely do think like when people are anonymous, like the line of questioning is kind of strange, you know. And that's no disrespect to this person, Rajan Rajan Laxus. Um, I hope you're having a great day too. Inspired to make some copper stone charms. Oh wow. Yeah, so this most recent time, it's been over 5 years. Like it literally goes down. I can't even extend. My arms aren't that long, but it goes down to my knees, you know? So I would wear your stones because it would probably be like good energy, you know? So thank you, Joanna. I appreciate that. Oh, wow. Yeah, I understand that. Well, I can kind of align with what you're saying here about profession being how you choose to go about, leading your life, and I agree because that's being in touch with one's spiritual energy, and I do think that is fair to say because I always say I have done things in the past that weren't so cool. So when you see me come here and pass a lot of positive energy frequently, it's because I'm trying to align myself properly. I'm not perfect. And the energy I try and push out is to realign myself where I think I should be and where I'm headed to. I'm not like an overly religious person or, you know, whatever people think is associated with spirituality, but I know I'm a good person, you know, and I know I'm genuinely good. But all of us have like different types of energy that's there as well, right? So I think as long as we tap into, I'm not anonymous, I'm Rajin. Okay, that's cool. As far as snakes are concerned, so um, a long time ago, I was one of the few people that I was aware of, especially here in the US, but really on a global level. I was one of the few people I was aware of who actually bred black mambas. I had Dendroaspis polylepis antinori, which is the northern race that comes from above Namibia, and they have blue eyes, right? So most black mambas are a little darker, like like a gunmetal color, and they're called black mambas because many snakes have pink tongues. Black mambas have black tongues, like my bird, like an African gray, right? I actually bred them. I had a 1.1, which means to the left of the decimal is one gender, and to the right of the decimal is another gender, right? These are hot snakes or hot herps. And I not only bred black mambas, but I bred eastern diamondback rattlesnakes. So eastern diamondback rattlesnakes, they don't actually lay eggs, they give live birth. And I had a 1.1 of eastern diamondback rattlesnakes too. They were almost 6 footers, and my black mambas were almost 13 feet long, both of them. One was a little bigger than the other. I also had a king cobra from Indonesia, and I had countless other snakes. But yeah, I like snakes. Rodrigo, Portuguese. Guess you're asking who speaks Portuguese. Oh, thank you. I hope you're saying Jesus loves everyone. You know, I hope you're not just saying Jesus loves me. I hope you're sending positive energy to everyone. No, I don't have anything now. All I have is an African gray parrot. Like I stopped. I need like I just wanted to focus all my energy on just being the best version of myself. I think like if you're trying to have pets, you should you should be able to devote enough time for these animals. Otherwise, it's kind of unfair. You know, if you're just keeping them and you don't really have the time you should probably give to them, then that's it's not fair. You know, in my opinion, anyways. But yeah, I not only like snakes. I like all animals. I like all insects. Maybe not so much mosquitoes and cockroaches, but other than like stinging insects that are like kind of aggressive, I like spiders. I like everything. I like all animals. No, I don't put like my beard into the soup when I'm eating. You know, I'm very conscious of that. I had a beard for a long time, you know, so I'm very aware when I work out. I'm very aware when I do anything. And you know what's crazy about, and this may sound morbid, but so I had a king cobra, right, from Indonesia, and king cobras, they only eat other snakes. And one of the snakes that king cobras do eat are ball pythons, you know. I had pythons and boas as well. I had a Colombian red tail, I had a Burmese, I had a ball python. But yeah, king cobras eat other snakes. So they eat um, you know, they eat pythons as well, but that's not their go-to. Um, those are some questions, Clark. Feed them. Yeah, and so when king cobras, you can't really feed a king cobra rodents. They're not going to eat rats or mice or gerbils or hamsters or any of those things, right? They're just going to eat snakes. So if you put a rat in with a king cobra, you're probably going to risk really hurting your king cobra, right? But black mambas, just like pythons and boas, will will eat rodents. So, you know, but there are a lot of people who like to keep rodents, you know. So that's why they're actually called the king. You know, they're called king cobra because they actually eat other snakes. That's why they're called the king. Not because they're like the longest venomous snake. It's because they eat other snakes. But not only that, they're like incredibly intelligent. When I had my king cobra, this snake was incredibly intelligent. Clark, I didn't dub you. I didn't like swerve your question. I just, you know, I'm getting to know you just like you're getting to know me, right? So certain questions are just like they're like throwing me off, you know, a little bit. And I don't mind at all, but I'm just, you know, they're kind of intrusive as far as I know you're just like the other person, you're trying to get to know me, but I don't easily just yeah, it might seem like I'm an extrovert, but I'm actually an introvert. That's just like converting myself to being an extrovert, so I'm not really all that outgoing. Yeah, you could do that. You could actually you don't have to give them live, you know? You don't have to give these creatures live. You could give them frozen or anything like that. So, yeah. So, I'm assuming you're talking about your ball pythons, right? Now, I saw like the guy that I purchased, because I had two. I had three. No, I had two. Yeah. So I had two black mambas, right? I don't know if I had two. This is so long ago. I also had taipans, but um, he had reticulated pythons. I don't know if you like really know your stuff when it comes to snakes. He had reticulated pythons, right? He had two of them. One of these pythons, the thickest part of its stomach was bigger than my thighs. It was almost as big as both of my thighs combined. And he was feeding them dead pigs, like thawed pigs. That's how big this thing was. And he literally asked me to like accompany him because the feeding response from these snakes was so crazy that like he was like risking himself to feed them because like sometimes the feeding response may have them actually strike him when he's just trying to feed them and they don't know exactly what to do, so they'll like wrap around him, you know? And that is nuts. So I had to watch him while he was feeding this reticulated python a pig. It was crazy. It was nuts. And it struck so fast for something that was so big, you know? And like I said, the thickest part of its stomach was almost as big as both of my thighs combined. It was nuts. That's great. That's great. You know, I really like how Dave over here is like calling me things that he's projecting me to be. That's right. I also had African black forest cobras. Those, they're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They're really nice looking, but they're incredibly aggressive. They're nasty. They are nasty snakes. But also, I had a Papuan New Guinea taipan. I had more than one. They have red eyes with a white face, and then they have like iridescent, like copper, red, all these colors on their body. You can look it up after you get off this stream. It was a Papua New Guinea taipan, right? The Oxyuranus scutulatus cani. Oxyuranus scutulatus cani. That's the scientific name. And this thing, whenever I used to feed it, it wouldn't go like, because I would, because these are extremely venomous, right? Like I'm talking about like top 5 on the planet. Like mortality rate is higher than 99% toward, for humans, right? Without antivenom, right? This snake would not go, it would not pay attention to my hands. It would only pay attention to my face. So if I went near it, like if I was trying to distract it with my hands, it wouldn't even pay attention to my hands. It was only looking at my face. And it was a pretty nasty snake too. So it was always like trying to make sure I couldn't distract it with my hands. Like even if I took a tom and I was trying to like touch it from the side to get its attention to go somewhere, no, it was only looking at my face. That was crazy. Yeah, you know, I'm I'm uh I'm very fortunate because it could have been a bad situation, you know, with these snakes, and nothing ever happened. I could have not been here doing this live stream because when I tell you hot, you know, I had the hottest of the hot. You know, if you know your stuff, then you know what a Papua New Guinea taipan is. You know what a black mamba is. You know what African forest cobras are. You know what Eastern diamondback rattlesnakes are. You know, you know what king cobras are, right? So it could have been bad many times. And not only that, I had a Tunisian fat tail scorpion. I had a death stalker. So I don't know if you know about invertebrates, but you could look those up. Tunisian fat tail, death stalker. Yeah, I had some other like I had a giant Peruvian centipede. I had those are scolopendra, and I had the Vietnamese. Those are nasty. Giant Vietnamese scolopendra. Yeah, death stalker. Yep. A death stalker is the most poisonous. It's the most venomous scorpion on Earth. I had one. Uh, well, leopard geckos are sweet. You know, we're talking about the craziest. You know, I also had piranhas, right? So I had some crazy creatures, but then you go to a nice leopard gecko, right? It's one of the sweetest creatures you could have. So back to my monkey. What do you say it was? Monkey feet. Yeah. Back to my monkey feet. Mmm. Nothing like some fresh monkey feet after a workout. But yeah, now I'm just focused on like, yeah, I was, and it wasn't just that stuff neither. It was everything in life, you know. So I'm glad like I calmed down so much more relaxed now. I'm not trying to seek the craziest thrills anymore. Now a crazy thrill for me would be like preventing myself from going to Malecon after this live stream because you're over here convincing me after I have my monkey feet to, to try and prevent myself from getting any chicken. By the way, I might just come out to the Bronx on the Grand Concourse and go to Malecon. There's one here in Yonkers too. Yeah, I could imagine. I could imagine, but just stay on point. And that's why I do these live streams too, so that I could just kind of pass this type of good energy to stay driven. The 1 to 231st. Watch. I'm gonna like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. That's why I'm trying to eat so much right now. This plate, it might look heavy, but it's ridiculously heavy. It's OD heavy. So I'm hoping I'm so full after this that it'll hold me down for hours and hours. I'm gonna do some pull-ups outside, and it's like 20 something degrees right now. So I know I'm gonna be cold, but I'm going out there. Oh yeah? Right under the stairs, 231st? The train station? Trying to think. What is that? That's Jerome, right? It's got to be Jerome. Are you saying you're half Dominican or it's got to be Jerome, right? Oh, oh, Broadway. Okay, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Yeah, Broadway. Broadway. 230 because I'm thinking the end is like there by Burger King and you know where it ends by Van Cortlandt. So then the next stop would be there by like Petco and Target and all that, right? I'm assuming that's where. Oh, the area is Dominican. Oh, you know. Well, I appreciate that, Mystic. You won't ever hear me say it, but yeah, why not? Yeah, 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 exactly. Right there. So it's the second to last stop, right there by Target and all that. They usually have the food stand. Mickey D's is right there. The Wendy's and all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. I know. I know exactly where you're at. Yeah, I've been growing it this most recent time, Spencer, for five and five and change, you know? You too, Mystic. I appreciate you coming through, checking in, chiming in, and you have a great night. You know, thank you for your energy. I respect and value your time. Hopefully, we do this again. Yeah. You know what? It's like I don't know what your name is, User Lou, but I don't know what you want me to call you, but you know, I don't. I'm a loner. I'm a loner, so I don't really hang out too much. You all are like my friends right now, you know. So I don't really have anyone to talk to. So you know, I mean, this is public, right? Who knows how many people have come through and heard what we're talking about here, right? We just went from talking about snakes to, you know, malecón. You know, I've done a live stream on this where I was venting. Um, you know what, Spencer? I actually tried to get involved when I was young, and I wasn't who I am now. That's for sure, because I'm definitely not a quitter right now with anything. In fact, whatever makes things difficult for me, it only drives me more nowadays. So if I fail, I'm failing forward because I want to use that to get back up stronger, right? But when I was young, that's not how I was. So I was embarrassed in class and like I never wanted to go back, you know? So it was one of those things. I quit. I quit at that time. If I was to do it now, I have a ponytail on my hair as well. So sometimes I do a double bun, a bun up here and a bun over here as well. So double bun gang, you know. But yeah, I quit much like if I was to do it now, I would be on point, you know. But I would rather like take like a whole bunch of like specialized dance classes, like aggressive, like maybe like break, like gymnastic hybrid style break. That would be cool. Reporting from France. Let's go, Pascal. Yeah. So you know what? I know I'm very random with my thoughts, but I appreciate that. You know, looks can be deceiving, but it's good to look good at something. But I have a lot of social friends too, social acquaintances. But the issue though is, and this is what's important, like what you mentioned in. Oh, that's awesome! I would love to get some lessons from you, but when it comes to the energy and being selective with your energy, it's so important because sometimes you find yourself giving your energy to folks and it's not reciprocal, you know? So you're basically pouring so much out. You know how like this is happening, right? Like I just went into the whole like we're flowing, right? And it's like if you're pouring so much energy out, and these are your people, your family, your friends, whoever, like people you know, you have history with these people. Yeah, it's called reciprocity. I literally did a live on this. It's so frustrating to me because I try over and over and over. I literally broke this whole thing down in a live because I was venting the whole time. And when you're just like so frustrated, but you're trying to rationalize in your head why you're making excuses for these people because you have such history with them that you're trying to like see, okay, you know what? They're doing this because of, but you know better because you know they're letting you down and they're frustrating you and they're zapping your energy over and over and over again. So it's like if you're giving all of this out and you're getting scraps in return, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? Thank you, Izzy. So you have to be selective with your energy. You know, I totally concur there. I agree. This is a lot right here. This is taking me a while. Yeah, I feel you. I totally feel you on that, you know? And like, honestly, I'm like, obviously, I'm a man. So, like, the way we think is a little bit different, I think, based on our, like, our hormones, the hemispheres of our brain. Like, I think men in general, we're able to compartmentalize emotions a bit different than women. But I think maturity for a man is about making sure you respect and understand how a woman feels, right? And make sure you exert honesty, like straight up, like just straight up. Like some things are not very easy to talk about, but if you keep it real, she may not like it. She may ghost you, but at least she's going to respect you, you know? And that's what it comes down to. So I think a couple of things are very important, maturity wise. I'm talking about from a man's perspective. Keep it real. That means honesty, right? Sometimes it's not easy to do that. Be real and and show proper communication. You have to communicate. So and those two things kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty nuts, you know? I know that pissed you off. I know that was like that was a hard hit because it's like, yo, what the hell? I just wasted my time, you know? Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Like I get that with actions, but like part of the actions you take, sometimes it's like, for example, because I don't want to just like give vague and general statements, and it's like, well, like how? So if you're waiting on someone, right? Because we're speaking about actions speak louder than words, right? You're waiting on someone to do something, right? If I'm the one who's waiting on you, Spencer, and you're supposed to do something, but in your mind, it's like actions speak louder than words, right? So I have to do this because he's waiting on me. You know I'm waiting on you, but you're running into a whole bunch of difficulties, right? And you're trying to figure out what you need to do, but time is going by. You might be on it and you might be working on it diligently, but you're not letting me know, and I'm waiting on you. So if you would have just communicated properly with me, I would have been at ease. I would have been good because I'd have been like, okay, he's running into some difficulties and I can't even help him because that's something he has to do. But at least he told me, so now I'm at ease. Like I don't have my anxiety is not going up because he let me know. So that's an example of like, man, I'm waiting on you, Spencer, and you're saying you have been working on it all this time, but you didn't tell me, you didn't let me know. So that's an example of like, yeah, actions speak louder than words, but you gotta sometimes speak up, you know. Let me go back. I know this is probably like came to text, step back from anything romantic, but then immediately posted. Yeah, that's yeah. Like it's clear as day, right? It's like if someone really wanted to give their time, come on, like that's it's a slap in the face because it's like he got bored or he got like complacent or he just got used to something or it was just like he just wanted something different, you know? And it's one of those things. Me, I try and like based off of what you're speaking about, your experience here, I try and like make the same thing. I might eat the same thing over and over and over, right? But I try and make it exciting. I try and like find a way to always be happy with that same thing. And you can do that with almost anything. You can do it with people, you can do it with situations, you could do it with work, you can do it with working out, you can do it with anything. But you have to make that effort, you know? So if a person like shows you over and over and over, like Spencer said, actions speak louder than words, right? If they're showing you that they're not respecting your time and energy and it's not being reciprocal, you already know what time it is. You're wasting your time, you know? And you got to do your best to like, and this is tough too, but you got to stand up for yourself. You got to make that decision, that tough decision and get yourself out of that. That's a crazy long time. 2016? Yeah, I mean it's a common thing, right? It's a very common thing. I appreciate the compliment, Spencer. It's a common. That's why, like, from a man's perspective, I said two things go hand in hand, right? It's proper communication and honesty, right? And sometimes that honesty, what's up, Tony? Sometimes that honesty is not easy, especially from a man. Because if you want to be, let's say, having this chick and you want to have that chick, pretty sure like you're not going to be able to do that, right? Unless, you know, unless they're okay with it. But then you got to be okay as a man for them, meaning the chicks, to be able to do the same thing back to you. I don't know if that's what they want to do, but you got to be okay with that, right? We're just talking about like, different topics here. Tony, feel free to chime in whenever you want. But to keep options open, the only way that's going to work, she's aware. She's aware, you have good communication, and you straight up let her know, and with that honesty, you have good communication. It's just they gotta go hand in hand. Yeah, so I totally understand that. Spencer, like here's the thing. A lot of men, we don't feel complete when we don't have our financial situation up to par, right? So if your finances are not where they need to be, you're gonna feel, because like naturally we're kind of like wired to be providers, right? That's not to say, oh, I got a trick on a girl and just like spoil her every single time. No, she's got to deserve that, right? But at the same time, it's like, if you don't want to be broke, and like, because as a man you feel good when you got it, right? So I get that. Like, if she's making money and she's got it, but you're kind of like in a situation where you're like in and out, or like you're in between, I totally get it. So if you didn't feel confident and comfortable at the time because of that, trust, I've been there too, man. And sometimes you'll lose a good girl because you feel not so confident, you know? It's true. Nah, like that's not rambling, because it's not rambling because it hits home, right? So yeah, it's true, Spencer. But it's user Lou. It's not rambling because when it hits home, sometimes it's liberating to be able to talk about it, and like that way we can all kind of have one another feel at ease, and that's what this whole community is about. It's not about me just doing a workout and then having a meal or like in between. No, we're going to talk about whatever we want to talk about, right? We went from Malecon to like snakes and reptiles to monkey feet to relationships, right? Yeah, that's like you said, right? Since 2016, that's a crazy long time, and especially from the neighborhood. Wow. It really sucks. And I can actually see parallels here between what Spencer's saying and what you're saying, User Lou, because again, I'm not a female, but from a female's point of view, it's like, wow, you poured all that time into this person and they straight up like played you because whatever. They just wanted to keep their options open. And then, like, something was sparking their interest more in another person. And they were like giving you a lesser amount of energy. That's whack. And then with Spencer, it's like, I get it because he didn't feel confident with this person because he felt like this person was a little bit more established at that particular moment while he was in between. So it's like both were not a fit at that time, you know, for different reasons, but like both make so much sense. And it's interesting because I have experience with both of these things, you know. Yeah. Yeah. When a person's spirit dies, especially a woman, like from a man's perspective, like if you want to have an open and like lively, animated, happy, genuine, passionate type of vibe from a person, you have to work to keep that going, you know? So if you don't do that and you have that person losing their spirit, once it starts leaving, it's like you may not get it back, or it's not going to be the same. I appreciate that, Spencer. It's true. We're just having. I'm speaking from experience. These grays tell a story that I try and put out there from the wisdom. Wisdom is acquired through time and experience, right? Oh wow, ayahuasca. That's a hell of a. It's a hell of a thing right there. Because you give a lot of time. No, I'm not. I'm not, Spencer. I'm not married. I am not married. Well, you know what, user? You know what, Spencer? Like, I'll get to you, user, in a second. Um, the same way you brought up how you were not ready for that dime that you passed up on because you wanted to get yourself right, and maybe you still do, right? That's me right now. I'm not ready for marriage or any type of real commitment right now because I'm still on a journey that I have to commit to and devote myself to. So the same way I stopped having pets and animals is the same way I don't want to waste anyone's time because I don't want to waste my own time, you know? So I wouldn't allow it, just like you didn't allow it at that time, right? And, you know, with your situation, user, I think you got to do your best to heal, moving forward. But sweet potatoes, a bunch of different powders like crushed chia, almond, mung bean, avocado, some sardines in there, um, quinoa. So yeah, baby arugula, baby spinach, uh, gandules, which is green pigeon peas. So a bunch of things.
I appreciate that. Yeah, let him be. Let him, you got to do your best to move on. You got to move forward and heal because that's a hard blow. That's a hard hit, right? So you got to move on, you know? Otherwise, it's just going to, I mean, I think we all appreciate you talking about it, you speaking about it, because these are real topics. These are real things to talk about, right? I'm going to fast probably as soon as the weather is a little bit warmer. Like if it's close to 40, I'll fast for at least a day. But it's been like really wicked outside, right? It's been like 15, 18, 20. So it's been really cold. And when I fast, like my body temperature goes down a lot. So I don't, cause I do dry fasting. So I don't drink water. So yeah. Um, yeah, I can't remember. I mean, a Boston cream sounds good, but if you're literally talking about donuts, it's been way too long. I haven't had junk food in like 4 years, so I don't know. I can't remember. It was probably so long. I don't even know. Oh wow, was that the same time? Yeah, that sucks. Especially when you're able to tie the times in and know that this was happening at those times. It is what it is. I think a lot of guys, we do this type of stuff, and if that's foreign to women, um, I know it's super hurtful, but a lot of men lead with their hormones, and it's true until men get, and here's the thing, right? So, from my own experience, my hormones are still like, they're good, they're up there, right? But I have to work for that. Whereas when I was younger, my hormones were like just naturally however they were. Now I have to like, my hormones take a dip if I'm not practicing certain things consistently. Like if my sleep is suffering, or if I'm not properly hydrated, I'm not doing all the right things, then my hormones take a dip. And then like my drive, etc., everything kind of like falters, right? But like when you're younger, it's like you get these like, it's basically running through your body where you're just like, you're leading with that and you haven't matured yet as a man, so that you're thinking these wicked thoughts, and you're just like, I could have her, I could have her, and some men are like, I'll use me as an example. My drive was high. It's still high, but like I'm like mentally at a different place. But a lot of men, when their drive is high and they're immature in the way they think, they lead from those hormones running rampant. So it's like they'll just make decisions based on wicked thoughts, without thinking about how this is going to affect one of those people that you're you're with, right? Oh, great. Yeah. So that's even kind of worse in a way because he was grown, and you're grown. So it's one of those things where it's just like, oh man, you know. And that's another thing. A lot of men also might be 65 years old and you're still not. You still didn't get it, you know? You're like still not there yet, you know? Just because you're a certain age doesn't always equate to maturity, right? So that's one of those things. Yo, yo, Philip, one day, I'm telling you, one day in the future, people are gonna back me up. I mean, like, people are gonna back me up to the point of where it's just like, you come in here talking smack, you know, sick you like, yo, get that energy out of here. You know, one day, I believe one day they're gonna back me up. When you come into a live stream, one of these live streams, and they're just gonna be like, yo, talk smack, and you're just gonna get roasted. There's nothing there's nothing wrong in being freaky. You know, I think most people are actually, right? So what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. What, you think when people get older, they just stop being freaky? Is that what you think? Did you just call me a wannabe Arab? That is a weird thing to say. But Spencer, if you winded up landing that dime that you wanted to land, right? You're not trying to be freaky with that person? Like if you have everything going with that dime, your money is right, her money is right. Let's just say you're in a monogamous situation with her, right? You like her, she likes you, and you're spending quality time with one another. And you have like a good bond with her. The attraction is strong. What's wrong with being freaky? And as far as a pool length thing, that is a weird thing to ask when I'm over here like eating. But if you really want to talk about it, it actually doesn't skeeve me out. I could talk about it. But I think you're trolling. I said one day, Philip. That doesn't mean 2 days. I said one day. We're not there yet. We still need time before it gets to that place where we're gonna have a community of people that are like, yo, get your trolling self out of here. Oh, okay. Well, that's just a word, you know. I'm fluent in slang, so I mean, if you want me to rephrase the word from freaky to driven, like I chose, right? We can use the word driven. We can use anything, any word you want. You pick the word. We'll pick a different word. You know what's crazy, Kieran, Seymour? One day, my boy, right? He went number 2, and I'm eating. I don't care. This was my workout partner at a certain time, right? E-Best, by the way, this whole workout, I mean, excuse me, this whole live stream was about working out, you know? So you're asking me about fitness and working out when this live stream, even though we're having a conversation about different things, was about a workout. If you rewind to the beginning of this live stream, you'll see we did a workout in this live stream. But anyways, going back to my workout partner, right? So he's not alive anymore. He passed away 2 or 3 years ago, right? So, but at the time, he went number 2, right? And he wanted to show me so badly. He was like, yo, you gotta see this, right? He was like, you gotta see this. I was like, see what? I just used the bathroom. You gotta see. I'm like, bro, what you want me to see this for? He's like, cause it looks like a cobra. He's like, you gotta see it. Just see it. Just come look at this. So he showed me his pool, right? Yo, when I tell you, keep in mind, my workout partner, rest in peace, 6 foot, 6'4", and he's 400 pounds, right? Yo, yeah, that homie's poop. His poop wrapped around the whole toilet bowl, and it came out and was sticking up like this. It literally looked like a cobra. We were laughing and we were telling that story for years. Again, rest in peace to Chris and Parati. But that was crazy. Yo, when I say 6'4", 400 pounds, it covered the whole toilet bowl and came up out like that. It was art, for real, you know? But him and I used to go in with food. Hardcore Italian. So you know he liked to eat, he liked to cook. He was half, I think he was half Polish and Irish, and then half Italian, right? That was his mix. Dude was a nutcase. But yeah. He was gigantic. But yeah, you know, I felt like Kieran had he brought up poop a few times, so it was like, all right, I got a poop story for you, since you want to talk about poop. And like I said, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't skeeve me out. I'm still gonna eat. And he was a good dude, you know. He was always good to me. That's all that matters. So I speak highly of him, even if it's a poop story. Yeah, like I said, on his mother's side, he was Polish and Irish. On his father's side, he was Italian. So that was his mix. You know, it's interesting to me, right? When people have mixes like that, sometimes, yeah, big dude, they lean a lot more on certain whatever sides, you know? It's almost like if you spent the majority of your time in Florida, right? And you've been in Florida for a long time. Let's say you were born and raised in New York, not born and raised, but like you left from New York when you were like 3 or 4 years old, and you've been in Florida ever since. But you're in Florida talking about, I'm from the Bronx. I don't really understand it, but that's how sometimes people are when it comes to their ethnicities. They're like you might have a person like him where he's like, my mother's Irish and Polish, and my father is Italian, but you just pretty much claim Italian. It's like one of those type of things. It's like, bro, you're Irish and Polish, and you're Italian at the same time. So why are you like not highlighting the other parts of what you are, you know? I mean, but Asians, unless you're some sort of like a sumo, like I don't really see Asians 6'4" and you know that kind of weight, that kind of build. Yeah. Brother, ain't no one grooming me. I'll tell you that much. There ain't a damn person on earth that's gonna groom me. You would have to, like, how would you do it anyways, you know? Yeah. That's like me with Albany. I was born in New York's capital, Albany. But I don't know anything about Albany, you know? It's one of those things. So, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, like I said, if anything, I might be grooming Spencer. He sure as hell ain't. He sure as hell ain't grooming me. That's for damn sure. And I'm probably way older than him. So how's that gonna work? Like I said, when it comes to these live streams, I can't be brought. I can't be shut down. I can't be canceled. I can't be stirred. I can't be manipulated. As long as I got good people around, I'm always going to be good. And I know where my boundaries are, I know where my restrictions are, and I'm going to stay in my zone. And I'm going to stay right there, you know? I'm almost, look, I'm almost done. I can tell you for right now, I don't feel like eating anything. There's no maricon in my future. That's for sure. Yo, Spencer, where are you from? Like, what type of Asian are you? Okay, Sacramento. Must be kind of warm out there. I know they got little like palm trees out there. Hmong, China. Okay, where is Hmong? Where is that? Where in China? Brooklyn, Brooklyn, Brooklyn in the house. You already know. Where in China is that from? Is it like if you have Beijing up here, right, on the East Coast, you have Beijing up here, and you have Shanghai in the middle, right? And then you have the Canton province down here, right, where they speak Cantonese. Are you on the West Coast or the west side of China, like closer towards India, or like Where exactly is that? Is it in the middle? Oh, okay. So it's bordering on the west side. Got it. That's cool. Do you all speak your own language? I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, trolling is always accepted. You know, I always say trolling is. It just means people have a pulse. Oh, okay. So it's almost like gypsy people. You know, that's interesting. I'm gonna do some research on these people. That's interesting. Yeah, I killed that. You know, I killed this meal. We've been on for over an hour and a half. Bob, I appreciate that, but I'm done. I am not going to get smacked on anything. You know, I don't know what type of high you're talking about, but yeah, I have to stay driven. I have to stay on point, and I have to take over the world with, you know, some sort of pinky or brain. No ayahuasca for me, no peyote, no meth, no dope, no crack, not even weed. I have to just stay on point. Yeah, I can't do it, you know? Yeah. So my family is originally from a state called Kerala, and these are yeah, that's where I got it from. Oh, Io. Ayahuasca is not a drug? I thought it was a drug. Oh, okay. I thought it was a drug. You can meet me at there's a little spot, 231st, under the stairs, and you can explain it to me over there. Just right by the one under the stairs. I'll get you some chicken. Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, exactly. I don't think, well, I'm not going to have that viewpoint. I mean, that's up to you, Joanna, but yeah, you reserve the table, I'll get the tab, and then you could tell me all about it. But I just think there's no way I would be able to engage all of this for over an hour and a half if I was like stoned out of my head. Like if my mind was just like blasted right now, I wouldn't be able to do this. You would know. My eyes would be like, forget it. My eyes would be so noticeable. There would be no life in them. It didn't matter if I had like a total upper like sativa, indica, forget it. I'd be like, I would be done. But sativa, I would still be done. You know, I'd be like, if you thought I was random, I forget it. It would be like, you know, it'd be, I wouldn't be able to do this. So if you know I'm doing a live stream, trust. If I was smoked out, I wouldn't be doing a live stream. I would not be doing a live stream. That's for sure. Some people could do it. Sure as hell ain't me. But so, user with the you know, with that whole heartbroken thing, you gotta heal. You know, you gotta get up. You gotta get past it. I understand it's especially, you said you're 40, 46, 48. You got to get past that, you know? That's it's a tough thing, but I know you got it. Yeah, exactly. And I hope we could do this as often as possible and have these types of conversations, whether we're trolling, whether we're having a real dialogue, whether we're, providing motivational energy through a workout, in between making meals, whatever the case may be, you know? Listen, I I I I don't dis- I don't judge folks, you know. If you like men, or you're a woman who likes women, or if you're a guy that likes, you know, whatever you like, I'm not judging. Is your craft what you were mentioning about uh, Maurice, Maurice, Mauritius? Salute to you. You know, I think it's Africa. That's cool. Is your craft what you were mentioning with stones? Because you said you wanted to create something for the beard. I think I remember you saying that. Yeah, I mean, just give it time. You clearly still, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, user user not only makes jewelry, but she also has. I'm gonna check it out. She also has. She does extensions on the side. So, I got this extension from her. I attach it right here. You can't see it, but underneath here is where I attach it to like the bottom of my chin, and that's where I get this cool look where it's like I got this fake beard going on, and it goes down to my knees, and people stop me. I get all this attention everywhere. People stop me everywhere, and they're just like, "Yo, the beard, the beard." And then sometimes people are like, "Is it real? Is it?" And I'm like, I just lie to them, and I'm like, "Yeah, it's real." But meanwhile, it's attached right here. This is where the extension is. You could just ask user Lou. She'll get you an extension too. Maybe you don't want to have a gray one like this, depending on whatever color your beard is. But I kind of wanted to have this cool look because I was kind of salt and pepper anyway. So I was like, it probably look cool if it was like kind of like this color, and like I blend it in. Then, you know, that's where if I take this off, it's gonna drop. It's gonna fall out. So this is where I like clip it in. There are like clips in there, and that's where I do it. No, I'm uh, I'm from the U.S., New York. Do I sound like I have a Canadian accent? That's interesting. I'm actually from New York, the United States. Andrew Tate is actually about to fight. He's about to fight. I think it's a boxing match that he's promoting. So let's see what he does with that. I think it's with a company he's running. So see how that goes. I think he already was. So I don't know how that turned out. I don't know if he's still dealing with that and if it's pending, but I think it looks like he's off of whatever arrest he was going through. No, I'm not. souk. Um, my opinion towards people may be gender fluid, but I am not myself. So I don't have any issues with whomever chooses to do whatever they want. I don't judge. I don't have any opinions on whomever does whatever. That's crazy. You two are just all day going at it, you know, back and forth. Let me see if there's anything I missed that I appreciate, like all these folks, you know. This was a very productive live stream. I've never actually done a live stream this long, you know. People, I think I'm oh wow. Yeah, that's bad. 10 rag. I hope you're not trolling. Cause look, I just shared a poo story and it was 100% real. So hopefully that poo story that you're sharing is not trolling. And that sucks for for them because that must have been traumatic. Yeah, must have been a traumatic experience, you know, especially when you're young, because you're always going to remember that. The parents are always going to remember that. Who knows? People were probably recording it, all of that. So, yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, big hugs, you know. I'm glad that, you know, it was another live stream that you mentioned, and then it turned out to be a good conversation that we had, right? So, great thing. I appreciate like every person chiming in, having this great energy. Like I always say, even the trolling, because we spoke about reciprocity, right? So when you give reciprocal energy, it doesn't matter if people are trolling or not. As long as folks are giving energy, then that's important. We're having a good time, you know? There's a lot of caps going on here. Pol, politoism? Yeah, yeah, it's powerful, you know? Sometimes, and I gotta go back to your site. So when you're saying you make copper wire with stones for the beard, how does that adornment? So what would it be like? Would it be like, would you would it go in and out of this? Like it would have to be an interesting thing. I can't really visualize it, but I don't know if you're still here, BGL. But you asked about a street fight and someone uses my beard against you, and if I'd be prepared for that. Uh, I wouldn't be in a situation like that because I'm not someone who's gonna use my body before I use my brain. So when it comes to this and this, I'm going to make sure that is in sync in how I communicate. I say this all the time. I'm not going to escalate a situation. I'm going to de-escalate it. So I'm not worried about this beard and someone, grabbing my beard or anything like that, or having to be prepared for that, because I'm gonna use my brain. I'm gonna de-escalate a situation because I approach everyone with respect. So I'm, you know, I'm in the projects all the time. At 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm in Melrose, I'm in Hunts Point, I'm in Brooklyn, I'm in Brownsville. I don't have issues. I'm not invincible, but I don't have issues because I know how to approach people with respect. I know how to respect people's space, and I know how to communicate and interact with people in a certain manner where they're not going to feel like they want to attack me, or they want to like stick me up, or they want to anything like that. There's not going to be aggressive energy my way because I'm not giving out that type of vibe, you know? So I don't have to, like I said, I'm not invincible, but I don't have to worry about that. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I can't visualize it, but if it came if it came out cool, I will rock it. That's for sure. I don't know if you're still here, Joanna, but thank you for your time, and you have a good one. Similar to for yeah, yeah. I kind of visualize it, but at the same time, it's like I would have to see. You know, my hair is gray, and it would have to kind of stand out like in a cool way, and then I would rock it. Yeah, Tim Rag. I hope that that young person i- is better from that pretty traumatic experience. Yeah, my hair is I have it bunged back here. I think you're talking about my head hair, right? Yeah, it's just you see it right there. It's bunged. I'm glad we have you know as many trolls as we should have to keep a live stream nice and healthy. But this was actually a plan of mine. The same way this whole live stream was about an idea turned into a religious routine, right? A routine that is done religiously, right? So, same way, this beard was an idea I had a long time ago where I always thought, like, I I want to be able to have a long beard like those kung fu martial arts shifus, right? The the masters that had like those long beards, but they kind of have like they move fluidly, right? Like they move like young people, right? But they had long gray beards, right? So in my head it was like, I want the same thing, but I want to look young in the face, but I want to have a long gray beard. And look, years later, I accomplished it. You know, when I let this thing loose, it literally covers my whole body because it poofs out and it's like this, and it covers my whole body. So, yeah, it's crazy. Like, I literally had this plan a long time ago where I was like, I want to have a young face and I want to have a long, grayed out beard. And it happened. And now I look like a bootleg young grandpa, you know? So, slash martial arts master. So it worked out, you know? And I'm happy it did. But yeah, I think it's like 20 something degrees out here. If you're from Sacramento, California, I know it's Cali has like maybe not when you start going north, but like as you go south, it's more like Nevada, Arizona, all of that, where it's kind of desert like. So I know the nighttime temperatures are cold or colder, but it's not like New York. New York winters, like right now, it's like 20 degrees, and I'm about to go out there. So it is what it is. I don't know what you're looking at, but yeah, 40 is kind of cold for a place that has palm trees. So yeah, New York is definitely 20 degrees out here, and some of these like a few days ago it was 13. It's been 17. It's been 18. There's been a lot of teens. Right now it's 20 something. So Yeah, I'm about to head to the Bronx right now too. So I gotta go out there as well. And I'm kind of dreading it, but I'm gonna go out there and you know, just just have fun, like I always do. Yeah, I could imagine. Summers out here in New York are crazy too. Oh, you're talking about this is a hobbit house. Yeah, what do you want? What do you want? A 12-foot ceiling? Like it's literally more than 7 feet tall. I don't know. What do you want? You want to like? What do you live in, a mansion? You live in a place that has a 15-foot ceiling? Is that what you have? And this is a hobbit? Listen, me personally, the smaller the better. Like I don't need a whole bunch of extra space. And that's not me saying, oh, because, I can't afford it or because no, I don't want like a whole bunch of extra room that I'm never gonna use. Because then it's like, well, like what was the point of having all this extra room and it's not ever being used? Because you're paying taxes on it, right? You're gonna pay like for all the extra space, you're gonna pay for that every year. So then it's kind of like a waste. So, me personally, the smaller the better. I would rather have land. This property right here has over a half acre of land. I don't need a whole bunch of land either. But I'd rather have land than have like a big home. That's just me personally. But the more you have, the more they're going to charge you. That's for sure. And even when you can afford it, I would rather not be subjected to having, the US government taxing me because they can. No, I would rather like you're going to pay taxes no matter what. So if you condense it and you maximize a condensed space, then your taxes, depending on the area, because me, I don't have any kids. So I don't need to live in like a zone that is like the best school zone where they charge you for that. No, I don't need that. I don't need it. So I want to be in a place where the like probably most people. I'm not talking about the hood neither. I'm talking about a place where I don't have to worry about the school system. I don't have to worry about like the biggest house with the hugest lot or any of that. No, I just want the taxes to be extremely affordable. Like you could even here in New York, you can get a place where the building is like $2,000 for the year in taxes. And you're in the middle of everything. Why? Because of the zone, because of the area. So, and you can have a nice property. And yeah, they're always increasing the taxes annually. But if you start at 15,000 annually, in 15 years, it's probably gonna go up to like 20 something, 20 something grand a year. But if you start at like 1,500, 1,800 a year, then in 15 years it might be 4 or 5,000. That's a major difference because you're going to pay it every single year, and that is like you're going to pay it no matter what. So to me, it makes sense to be in a hobbit than to be in something grandiose for no reason. I don't know. That's just how I think. Yeah, come out here. Come out here. Manhattan, Brooklyn, Staten Island, Queens, Westchester, Putnam, Rockland, Green, wherever, you know? Yeah, well, you know what? Bots or no bots, it's all good. You could all be like AI for all I all I can understand. And we're still gonna make sure we keep this thing going. Because after it's all said and done, it was still therapeutic, right? So it was therapeutic release. We all made sure our time was spent properly and we didn't waste our time. And that's the whole point. But listen, I'm gonna leave it on that note, and it's literally been 3, 6. It's been over 2 hours. Wow. 2 o'clock? What laundromat are you at? I mean, they're open till whatever time, so I get it. You know what? If I had the superpower to use this to be able to like be my weapon, then you already know. Yeah. Mickey D's on Broadway, right? By the Kingsbridge. I know all the spots. Yeah, this would be my like. This would be my thing. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna leave it here, and I'm gonna check out because I still have to knock some things out before I shoot out there. I just wanted to say I appreciate every person that came out. You know, all your time is extremely valuable, and I thank you for chiming in. Whoever did, every person that came in, and it's gotta be it's gotta be like 20 something degrees, you know. But I'm gonna go out there right after I get a few more things knocked out, and I'll catch you all next time, you know. And hopefully we have another great one next time we do this. Oh man, here we go. That was literally a low blow, you know. But yeah, I'm good. Like, if you want, I'll keep this thing going. But I'm gonna keep it moving. But nah, I'm gonna turn this off because I do have to use the phone too. But till next time, thank you all for your time, and thank you for your energy as well. And we'll do this again soon.